It's a sad box. It's a soap box. It's fan box.
Welcome to Fanbox. We're glad that you can join us for a second week in a row as we talk Agatha all along. My name is Tony. With me this week again is Sarah from Movies and Tea, as well as Jonathan or Marvelous Johnny or Jonathan Chow, wherever you find it. Like
I've
there's
got
multiple
so many
things.
variations of it
So
now.
let's do this. I'm gonna go ahead. Let's have the lady go first. Sarah, tell us where we can find you. Tell us about what you're doing, and then Jonathan, you can go next.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm across all platforms. I'm at Movies and Tea. Nothing crazy, no underscores, no nothing like that. And I'm gonna be like, where am I at? I'm gonna be attending New York Comic Con in a few weeks, so that's pretty fun. So if you're there, I'm there. Maybe Johnny's there because I saw
Not this year. Not this year.
Oh,
It was last
so
year.
sad. Okay, well, your turn.
Hi everyone. I am Marvelous Johnny. Official name is Jonathan Chu, but I go by MarveEllous for Marvelous. Don't forget the two L's because that's the Canadian spelling. And then yeah, that's pretty much the majority of my socials, honestly, because I don't use X anymore for very obvious reasons.
Well, unfortunately, Johnny, you are on X right now. I do apologize for that.
That's
we're streaming.
fine.
We are streaming on X. We are streaming on YouTube as well as Facebook. And again, for those of you who are watching on Facebook, it is showing up as a Nerd Initiative page, but it will be eventually migrating into the It's Fanbox page. So if you are looking to continue to follow the editorial side of Nerd Initiative, be sure to check out Nerd Initiative Prime on Facebook. That is where you'll find all of the articles and editorial stuff as they transition the Uncanny Automator from WordPress and everything else to be able to do those things. And of course, you can follow them or follow us, I guess you can say as well. Nerd Initiative, the Nerd Initiative Network on YouTube, nerdinitiative.com, but also follow It's Fanbox as we are starting to try to do something new. And if you are watching or you are listening on podcasts, which guys, I need to advise you, this does get converted into a podcast on almost all major podcast platforms. And I am a bit proud of this show being only one episode. We've already had 46 downloads in the last 5 days for this show, which has been fantastic. And so if you're looking, you can search Agatha along. We're actually on the first page of searches under shows on the Apple Podcast, which is something that even fandoms which we have been doing 41 episodes, you have to literally put fandoms podcast to find it. So I'm very proud of that. And again, we're relatively new. For those of you who are watching after the fact, again, you can go It's Fanbox.com. You can also search us on all major platforms. We are It's Fanbox all over the place, and we're thankful for that. And if you are watching, like I said before, or listening later on, and you would like to get involved, I want you to understand the Nerd Initiative was a network, or is a network for content creators, for people who are producing content, and whether they're big or small, if they're doing consistent content and doing great stuff, we love to promote them. It's Fanbox is different. The whole purpose of It's Fanbox is for everyone, including the fans. And so if you're a viewer and you've never thought about getting behind a camera, maybe making a video or whatever else, we would love to see you do that. You can make us a collaborator on Instagram, or you can reach out to us through DMs and say that you're interested, and we could even get you on a show at some point talking about what you love. But speaking of what we love, let's go ahead and get into Agatha All Along, or as I like to say, spoilers if you haven't seen it, the ode to Sharon. First of all, I love how the show names are specifically the parts of the ballad. Through many trials of tricks and trials is what episode 3 is titled.
Yes.
And I've got some theories, or I'm going to share some theories from people online that has traumatized me. Sarah, I got to hear before while you were getting ready, Johnny, but let's go ahead and do initial reactions. I'm going to shut up. Sarah just needs to give me this kind of motion and I will stop talking. Thank you. But initial thoughts, Sarah, go ahead and get us started.
I loved episode 3. Like, I really could not see anything wrong. I think I said this about episode 1 too, but that just proves how good the show is. But yeah, episode 3 was so much fun to watch. I'm really definitely seeing like that mystery, and the mystery is happening like in the overarching show, but it's also happening like episode specific. So as I'm watching the episode, I'm like, oh my gosh, what's gonna happen next? Who's gonna do this? Who's gonna hallucinate next? Is Agatha gonna drink the wine? It was like a constant battle in my brain as I was watching the show, and it was so fun. Yeah, I loved the episode. Sad ending, but you know what? Good episode anyways.
All right. Yeah, no, honestly, I gotta agree, because first 2 episodes, like, they were able to hook me in, but I'm just like, okay, let's see what they do. Now with episode 3, it's absolutely this is what we're doing, and you're either on board or you're off board, and I am 100% on board for this adventure, and I love it so much.
Oh yeah, yeah, and I'll be honest, like I like how they kind of put them in different situations. When you think of Down the Witch's Road, you immediately think, oh, it's going to be haunted places, cobwebs, black cats, that kind of thing. And I love how they even kind of make jokes in the first few episodes where it's like, do you see a pointy hat anywhere? Like, you don't really know, what you're expecting. And they come into this absolutely like picturesque location, and they're put through trauma. And what's really funny is it's going to get people thinking, because in a normal household, they found all of the things that they needed for a magical potion.
Yes.
And it really made like the whole petroleum thing, like the
like whether or not it is actually old fossilized, but they're lying to you. And the Agatha's whole, oh, I know snake oil salesmen when I see it.
It's
very in character.
Yeah, or the gut of a social insect, like the way that they say the things are like eye of newt or mustard seed. Like they're explaining things that normal people wouldn't even know or identify, and they're making it they're making everyday things kind of magical, which I thought was kind of fun.
It's legitimately my favorite part, when they were trying to figure out how to heat up the cauldron, I guess, or the sink, and allegedly Billy, because I mean, let's be honest, I don't know. I feel like we're right. It's still teen. That's what Joe Locke told me at Fan Expo Canada. But yeah, no, like the idea to just use the sous vide device just to actually get to heat it up, I'm like, that's genius. I love this so much.
I found out a new kitchen ingredient when I was watching on Wednesday. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Like, what was that? The sous vide?
Yeah, I had no idea. I was like, what the hell is this?
You can, if you ever go to Starbucks, you can get sous vide egg bites.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So as much as this is a cool poster, I do like this next one. I feel like this was also more appropriate for
very quickly before we switch away. Okay. Can I just quickly say how much I love the tagline at the top where it says, "Some days you just need to drown your sorrows."
Right. Now everybody's gonna go back and look at all the taglines and see if there's anything else to kind of pick from it.
Exactly.
But along with this poster, I think this one, we have the team. But I think this poster kind of works better.
That's my favorite.
I love when Sharon goes, I'm not sure if I would subscribe to this whole witchy thing, but I would literally drink the blood of a virgin just to smooth some of these lines. She was so stressed on the road, but as soon as she got in that setting that was more familiar for her, she was much more comfortable talking. And of course, this was hilarious.
I haven't seen this one either. This is so funny.
Now, this is not an official poster. This is something that somebody did.
But like, it's so
and
good.
What's really cool, if you go online, there's actually a video circulating on X. Sorry, Johnny. That has some of them seeing each other for the first time.
Yes.
And responding to because again, this is not special effects in the area of
all
VFX.
Practical.
These are all practical effects. They really did this.
I saw them on Instagram as well.
Yeah, and so absolutely fun. Absolutely loved it.
When they attempt to smile, it's the funniest thing ever.
Oh yeah. And I loved how the one was like, I'm not hating this. She was all for it. But let's go ahead and go back to this group.
Mhm.
Couple things happened in this episode. Should we speak about the big red elephant in the room?
The one with like a pointy tail, yellow eyes one.
Something like that, yeah.
That one, yeah. Yeah, no, they name drop freaking Mephisto. And I'm just freaking out here. My friend who I was watching it with was like, who's Mephisto? I'm like, and I'm just like, pause. And just went into like a 20-30 minute tirade about how he's the worst thing ever as a Spider-Man fan. Because for anyone who doesn't know, Mephisto is the reason why Peter Parker is no longer married to Mary Jane. So whenever I hear the name, I always just think of that Spider-Man comic. But also, Mephisto is just, he's been a character everyone has just been hypothesizing since WandaVision would show up, right? So the fact that we finally get somewhat of a name drop, it's Marvel feeding us them crumbs.
Yeah.
Now,
He's definitely going to show up later, for sure.
I mean,
okay.
Wasn't it
So,
reported
Sarah,
that
you do believe that he's going to show up
in Ironheart?
Well, yeah. I mean, Marvel basically confirmed right then and there that he's like in the MCU. Like by saying that name, they're saying he exists. So he has the potential to show up in a future project, except maybe not necessarily in the whatever 3-4 upcoming projects that are like on the horizon, but maybe a future phase, like whatever, phase 7, phase 6, whatever we're in now, or like the next
We're in
one.
phase 5.
All right, so phase 6, maybe he'll show up then. Maybe he'll show up in this TV show in some minor way that sets him up for a different phase. But yeah, he's in the MCU, and I guarantee he will show up. And you can quote me on that if he doesn't. If I'm like sitting here and I'm like 50 years old and like, okay, Sarah, you were wrong. Okay, fine, I was wrong.
So are we starting a betting pool though for whether or not he's going to show up in Agatha?
Yeah, talk to me in 30 years, Johnny.
And honestly, I'm not even going to bet into that, because I feel like some of the stuff that's been released recently promoting like future episodes has already like completely debunked my Blackheart theory. I'm still kind of holding with some
Speaking of that,
we will see
very quickly, has everyone seen the Funko spoilers?
Yeah, I'm not talking.
I have, but we're not. Listen, but let's not.
I just wanted to get an idea of that. For anyone who doesn't know, Funko. Thanks a lot.
Maybe
Funko
they were feigning.
Maybe. I hope so, but yeah, no. Funko spoiled the identities of 2 characters, and I'm so mad at them because they're also the reason why I know Loki was the one who pruned himself in season 2. Funko's just spoiling everything.
Yeah.
Hate it.
Yeah, but you know what? Let's face it. Funko is not the only person to do it. Lego has done it.
It's the marketing campaign. This is the marketing campaign.
That's your end game. In which case, Lego got nothing right.
Well, okay. So you want to hear? Let's go rabbit trails a little bit here. You know that Marvel only gives them like a hint of what they're thinking like a year in advance.
Yeah.
And so it's not really, Lego doesn't really have a choice in the matter. They give them like, this is what we're thinking. That's why if you like look at things like Wakanda Forever and stuff, there are very vague sets. And sometimes, unless it's something big, I mean, like even after the fact, the No Way Home set came after the movie came out.
Yep.
The
ones
Endgame
we had
stuff
just weren't right.
Yeah.
What was it? The easiest ones for them to have made was the Eternals, though, I will say, just with the Deviants, which were.
And I'm just gonna say right now, the Domo was on clearance for the longest freaking time. But that's okay. Let's go back.
We'll save Lego talk for another day.
Yeah, we could do that. I think it'd be its own series. But so we've got Mephisto reference. Now I know that I believe the director of the show did say that it was more of a nod to fans and their speculation for WandaVision than it was really saying that this was going to be happening down the road. I would dare say we will probably not get Mephisto in Agatha all along, but it at least means that Feige was willing to nod and say he does exist in the MCU. You know, it's kind of like, for me, I would think of it more like if you go back to the first Doctor Strange, Baron Mordo is talking to Doctor Strange. They're at Comertage. They're dueling, and he says he has the staff of the Living Tribunal.
Yeah.
Like, so you have that kind of thing. Like, will we see it in the future? Probably not.
We
We've
got a
seen pictures
glimpse
or
of
images.
them
Yeah.
in frick, which movie was it? Oh yeah, no, it was Multiverse of Madness. When Strange is being sent throughout the multiverse, and then you get a quick glimpse
Oh,
of the
like
of
2
their head.
seconds.
I want to say we also may have gotten a glimpse like of a structure, and I think maybe Love and Thunder, but we got a lot in Love and Thunder. A lot of stuff we didn't want, but
I got a fair bit that I wanted.
okay, moving on. So they are poisoned by the wine.
Yes.
The wine, they have to identify, and of course, this is more of a test for our potions witch.
Yeah.
And of course, I really liked the I forget her name at the moment, the character, but I loved near the end when she's panicking and not sure if she can actually do the potion. Agatha has a moment where she's like, "I've always hated you, but what you were doing was good."
Jennifer
And-
Kale is her name.
I forget. What is that? Is that the character's name, or is
That's
that
the
the
character's
actor's
name. The actress's name is Sashir Zamata. I am so sorry if I butchered
Jennifer
that.
Kale. That's very on brand for what she's.
Yeah, it's very crunchy mom vibes I'm getting from that.
Crunchy mom vibes.
But yeah, I love her, and of course, her being the one who does the Mephisto name drop.
Yes.
They were very much leaning into this idea that she is thinking that Billy is either interested in Agatha's son or could be Agatha's son.
Mhm.
A lot of people are speculating because of his interest and his defense of Agatha at one point.
He got along
Yeah,
very
that's
well with
me.
Senor Scratchy.
Yeah, I mean, I've been on the whole train that he's Nicholas Scratch, and honestly, I don't care what Funko says. I'm still on the train.
Honestly,
until
I
proven
like the
otherwise.
idea of him being Nicholas Scratch way more.
Yeah, I mean, it. First off, it goes what's it called? I can't think of the word. It diverts a problem that would be a problem if he was Billy Kaplan. There's a major problem. He can't play that character. But the second part is that like he should be Nicholas Scratch. That makes it a lot more sense with the TV series. Anyways, I'm
Good
done
point.
with my rant.
No, I'm
so
with you on that.
and listen, don't hesitate to like say I get that there's a Romani background to Billy, Wanda's son, that I think that
Very
was a
Jewish
big
heavy.
concern. Yeah, exactly. So they kind of didn't go their route. It would fix that problem. Does Marvel do that though? The track record is not good.
It's very bad.
Looking at you,
right,
RDJ.
Oh my
among other
God.
things, like can we like
Yeah.
Moon Knight,
Yeah,
but
Yeah. Sorry, I erased that show from my memory.
Romanis and Jews are just suffering consistently in the MCU.
Yeah, very much so. But I will say, like, it obviously shows team doesn't necessarily know how to feel about a lot of this. I'm almost wondering if either he is, because it was weird because he the first episode, I think he said that one part he said that his mother was dead, and then he says that his parents are sleeping on the road.
Episode. Oh yeah, also that.
And then he's defensive of Agatha. What is it? What if he is looking like I thought before, maybe he's searching for Wanda to save Wanda, but then at the same time, what if he thinks he's the son of a witch, but he doesn't know which witch? That sounds terrible, but like maybe he thinks it's Agatha, but he's gonna find out it's Wanda down the road. Yes, it would fix the problem if he was Nicholas Scratch, but at the same time, it's kind of like, I think they're trying to make us question his origins as much as he is at the moment.
I will say, like, let's say they did cast someone who was Romani and Jewish, honestly, there would be a very, very interesting story installed for us then of the foe of the Scarlet Witch, doctrinating, training, and like unleashing Wanda's child's power. That could be such a fun story if only they had done proper casting. Because now I'm just like, oh, really hope it's not him.
Yeah. Also, like,
Yeah.
there's no story building as to like, because the way that we left it, with WandaVision and Multiverse of Madness, is that Wanda's kids exist in a different universe. She didn't touch them. She didn't take them. And then obviously the Billy and Tommy that we know from WandaVision got evaporated with the rest of like her spell. So there's no build to how this kid would get in this
If
universe 616
if I
without like,
may explain the comic book way
I
they
don't
did
know.
it, that might be
Okay.
applicable towards the MCU. We know that the MCU doesn't always stick to the comics, but
Right.
if they were to,
No,
this is one of
always.
the
You mean
scenarios.
almost at all? But like, go ahead.
Yeah, but okay. So in the comics, because like, what was it? It was like 80s, 70s, maybe 90s is when Wanda had her kids originally in the comics, and Billy and Tommy do not become Speed and Wiccan until like early 2000s ish when Young Avengers was coming out, and it's revealed that I forgot how it was exactly done, but Billy and Tommy were reincarnated in some stillborn children, I think it was.
Oh, I have
And
heard
then
this.
they were
Yeah.
raised by those parents who had those children originally. In which case, even then, though, Billy was still raised Jewish because he was born to a Jewish family, or the body he's inhabiting was born to a Jewish family, I guess.
And sadly, it goes a lot worse than that, because when Wanda had manifested them, they were shards of Mephisto, right? And she was possessed with Agatha because Agatha had been killed at that point. And so it's a big old mess.
Yeah, it's comic shenanigans at some of its absolute finest. But point is, Billy and Tommy, comic book origins wise, in terms of their current existent form, comes in reincarnation pretty much, or body snatching in some cases, I guess, if you were to go with it for the souls. Yeah. So I can easily see that being something the MCU pulls if they really wanted this to be Billy, but fingers crossed, it's Nicholas Scratch.
Yeah. And I think it's sad because regardless of considering the erasure, I really like this kid. Like, I'm really enjoying
Joe
him
Locke
in the
is
story.
so nice.
Yeah, and like I just love his like even when he walks in the ring, he's like, it's giving me, and he's like explaining the house, and like I just like it, and like even he has that moment on the couch where she the one which goes and looks at him and just like, I kind of miss the eyeliner, but I love the hair. Like
yes, I love
he's
that
the
moment.
most endearing member of the group. Yes, they know that he's a mystery and they're all curious about him. And like Agatha said, they're gonna crack him open once they get down the witch's road. But regardless of the sigil, regardless of who his heritage or parentage is, he's such a freaking likable character. And it's kind of been fun to see him, because he's literally the glue that's kind of keeping them together and motivating them, because regardless of how they go at each other, he is just super happy to see them, and it's almost like he's giving them the fresh eyes to the art that they have been doing for so long that they've lost the appreciation for.
Yeah, I agree. And I feel like in moments in the TV show, like we even saw like when Agatha didn't want to drink the wine, or when she didn't want to bring Sharon Davis down into the oven transport device thing. We like saw in that moment like he was the motivator behind her doing those things. And I'm sure he will play a larger role in motivation later down the line for other characters as well. And especially for our former security Hot Topic guard, who I'm forgetting the name of. But
let me see if I can quickly find it here. The
Yeah.
character's name is Alice Wu.
Great. Alice Wu. Yeah, I feel like there was a lot of motivation behind him and her, and I feel like there's a lot of story building that will take place between them. So I think he's a great character, and I think he's a great person in real life and also on screen. But yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed is Nicholas Scratch or anyone else.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And if you're watching or you're listening and you don't really know what about Joe Locke is kind of bothered, Billy Kaplan, or Billy Maximoff, I guess if you want to call it that way, Wiccan is of Romani descent, as well as should have been Wanda Maximoff, and of course we know Marvel doesn't have a good track record with casting appropriately for the people group that is being represented. And so yeah, exactly. And especially when it comes to Jewish representation, which you would think, but of course Disney's a big company, and most times those things are overlooked. And so I mean, it's kind of like the whole thing. If you go back to Hawkeye, Haley Steinfeld, Kate Bishop, it's a Jewish character, and the most you get is like a couple trinkets and I think a mug in the aunt's apartment. And then then they throw a Christmas party basically between her and Clint Barton. And so, it's kind of one of those things where you just kind of hope for the best and you just expect the worst. So,
and when we do get Jewish actors playing Jewish characters, it's a whole other situation.
Yeah.
When has that happened? Has that happened besides Haley Steinfeld?
So we've got the. Now I thought it was interesting. Not only were they poisoned, and they have, and of course when you notice they walk in, there are no knobs to anything, there are no exits. They're stuck in this place, and of course Agatha tries to break the glass to get out. But in doing so, all of a sudden, at some point, water starts to pour in, but salt water. And so,
very quickly, was anyone expecting a shark to just quickly start bashing at that window, or was it just the Jaws fan in me?
Did you watch Despicable Me recently? Because that's where
I've not seen that since my brother was a child.
Oh my god!
I just really like
that
sharks
was a good
as well,
scene.
though.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, it was interesting. It really okay. It gave me escape room vibes. It gave me kind of like Saw vibes. It gave me like this, in this room is a bottle of wine. You must drink it and survive. It's like I feel like that's what we're getting, and I'm looking forward to, as lighthearted as some of these scenes are, and we know that in the future there's gonna be like hippie scenes and stuff like that.
Zombie scene.
Yeah, we're gonna see this. That these are all witch escape rooms basically that are going to test their skills and everything, which I thought was funny because like even Kale was saying like she has no power, but it's like he's like the craft and witchcraft, like there are still the analog magic that he talks about. And so they really go there out.
Just speaking of that though, like Agatha all along has given me what I've always wanted from the MCU when it comes to magic, honestly, because with Thor, they very much grounded in science. With Doctor Strange, it's a lot of hand sigils. But with Agatha, we get the potion making. We've gotten like artifacts and all that in Doctor Strange as well, but like we get the potion making. We get the chanting of spells pretty much. The witch's road song alone feels like they're summoning the spell itself, right? So just especially in this episode with the potion, I love it so much because what I loved about the magic in comics was a lot of the dialogue. Like you'll hear Stanley talking about how he came out with the hoary hosts of Hogarth or the Crimson Bands of Sidorak and all that. And I feel like we're starting to actually tap into what made magic so fun and cool in the comics with this show. And we especially get it in this episode.
It's kind of funny. Like, I don't know why it was this episode, but I was thinking about the Ballad of the Ballad of the Witch's Road, and it was amazing in the MCU. Sarah, you talked about how like New York like expects terrible things to happen. The people of Westview are traumatized by witches, and then all of a sudden you see the Salem 7. But then there's like this realization. It's like the Ballad of the Witch's Road was a popular song in the world of the MCU. Like it was a published label. That's like the whole concept. Like I think Woo's mom was the one who recorded it and would perform it.
The performer.
And could you imagine like in this world, like, will we get other things like this? I mean, as Guardians and everything else is mainstream, but like this more ancient, like we've got Captain America from World War II. You go farther back, and we know that Red Skull, stormed Tonsberg, and you had the battle between Jotunheim and Asgard on Earth in the same place, and
We
the
had
Eternals
the
have been there
Eternals
forever.
involved.
And then you find
Magical
out that
dragons in different
yeah,
dimensions.
and you look at like those articles at the end credits, and I think they do play a role because it shows that in the MCU, not necessarily in the real world, regardless of the images of like the movie The Craft, you've got these articles about witches doing things and saving people, and it being very different than what the real world thinks about it.
One of my favorite things is just Loki being was it the guy who like stole a bunch of money and just jumped out the plane. I forget his name already. P.D. Barnum, or was it?
Yeah.
P
yeah.
something.
I
Something.
forget. But I feel like people know what I'm talking about just from mentioning
Yeah.
that little clip from Loki season 1. But things like that, which is like unsolved mysteries in our world, have an explanation in the MCU with the fantastical. And I just love those little things.
Yeah. I feel like
D.B.
the
Cooper.
MCU and like
Yes.
yeah, thank you. I feel like the MCU and Marvel Comics just have like a big stamp that says like because why not?
Yeah.
And I feel like anything is possible.
I mean, the slogan was always the world outside your window.
The world outside your window, maybe. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if this is the world outside my window, but it's definitely a world, possibly in another dimension outside of somebody else's window.
Right.
But yeah, anything I feel like is really possible in the MCU. And I think every single character that has led us to this point has proven that time and again.
Absolutely. No, I absolutely love these characters. Anything that really just looking through the first 3 episodes, what is the biggest thing that kind of caught your attention that you've just really Sarah, I've been loving, again, I love your breakdowns, your analysis. I've been trying to hold back because between fandoms and this, I'm trying to do justice and just kind of be quiet and not share everything at once, or else people will be like, well, I want to hear, but I don't want to hear from him because I like to talk too much. But anything that's you guys have, it's just jumped out at your face. It's just been one of those things that you really are looking forward to, or that you're hoping that they're going to touch on in the MCU through this show.
Well, I said it last time, but I'll say it again. I'm like hoping for more Wanda, honestly. Like Elizabeth Olsen indicated that Olsen indicated that she
just don't call her that when you see her at New York Comic Con.
I don't think I signed up for her, honestly, which is kind of sad. But anyways,
I believe you.
I like really want her to come back. She's indicated that she wants to come back. So if she like somehow had like a way at the end of this, or I mean, there's this whole thing in the MCU, like if you don't have a proof of death, then it didn't happen. So I'm just going with that because we didn't.
I feel like it's very plausible though, because like if you look at how Elizabeth Olsen talks with Catherine Hahn and how close they are during WandaVision and still now, and then add on the fact that she's really freaking close with Aubrey Plaza, it feels very likely that she can and might, and plus, like, was it like Elizabeth Olsen has enough star power underneath her belt with Marvel Studios that I think if she wants to, Marvel would be more than happy to include her.
Yeah, it's like a Wolverine
they might have. Exactly, it's like Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, right?
Yeah.
Now, I heard reports that possibly she was being, again, rumored, but that she was going to be playing a role in not necessarily Doomsday, but
Secret Wars.
But Secret Wars, yes. So whether we get her or a iteration of her, it'll be interesting to see. Mind you, I'd like to have our Wanda back, but I kind of like the idea of there being one that's not as traumatized. Being that
what is the Scarlet Witch without trauma, though?
What is any MCU character without drama?
Facts. You're Kamala Khan.
Good point. Good point. Yeah, but then Kamala's law comes into play at some point, and then you've got some other things going.
I love Outlaws, but I hope it never comes to the MCU. We've had no. I'm good. I'm good without Kamala's Law.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and just throw this out here because this is something I showed Sarah. So there's a theory going on in this promotional footage, which was provided by Marvel Studios, our Marvel Television, through Disney Plus. We see that we've got, of course, Sharon, or Mrs. Hart, according to Agatha, because that's how she knew her. So when she
Forgetting her name,
goes,
Sharon.
"Who's Sharon?" It's because she doesn't really care about people that much, but at the same time, like, all she knew her as is Mrs. Hart.
See, okay, I thought the same thing, but I've had 3 friends pitch to me now that they think there's another spell going on Agatha that prevents her from actually acknowledging her as Sharon. Because the moment she just says, like, "Who's Sharon?" every member of the witch of the coven looks at her. I'm like, what? Now that can easily be interpreted as like, wow, she just died and you're pulling this. You're this soulless. But my friends justified it enough to me now. We're like, they know Agatha. They know she's terrible. They saw the shit she just pulled earlier with the wine and not drinking it until Teen threatened his own life with it. What if there is a bigger spell at play? What if Wanda's not actually dead and this is still that bit of influence being involved,
Okay, I have another theory, and I was thinking this more through this episode, beyond what I intended to put this up here, because Sarah knows I'm not going anywhere where I was supposed to be going when I brought this up. But what if Agatha never went through the Witch's Road in the first place?
That's yeah.
So they keep because like the way she's vague on things and the way she panicked, he should know. You have to follow the rules of the game to get to the next stage. And for her to panic like she did and try to break out of the house was a tell that she doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah.
She was playing a good game. She's a good talker. But at the same time, I feel like she's either something is on her, kind of like the sigil with Teen, where she's lost memory or lost something and she's not as confident, because there are moments where she's like that. And mind you, it could also be the fact that she's a power stealer. She's been a power thief, since the Salem trials, at least.
Yeah.
And then the question is, did she really get that power from the Witch's Road? Or, as was indicated in this episode, if she really did trade in her child, Nicholas Scratch, for the Darkhold, did she gain that ability through the Darkhold?
Yeah, for sure. 100%. That was like, I'm being very overly confident right now. I have no idea. But I mean, just based off this episode, I would say, like, yeah, highly plausible, just because she had like that moment where she's looking into the crib and she pulls back the blanket and she sees the Darkhold, indicating that there should be a child there, but she traded it in for the Darkhold. The Darkhold is now her new child. It was like a whole symbolic type thing. It was also, can we talk about it, 5 seconds of Catherine Hahn acting her ass off? Like, that acting, she had like a 10-second scene and it was incredible. Okay, now I'm done.
Switch up of her character.
No, it was like, what was that?
What did you say, Johnny?
I said that was like the biggest switch up in her character. That's the most vulnerable we've seen her.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Can we say that all of their hallucinations, like, we haven't even touched on it. Sharon, like, we got to know what she was really trying to say when she was under the hex in WandaVision.
Yes. No,
all she said in the show was stop it. And she's like begging for him to not be suffocating, to let him breathe. Like that. I was talking to Will last night on Fandoms, and he brought that up. Like, that was like the most impactful for him, was like that moment. And really, it tugs at your heart, realizing the extent of what Wanda did to Westview in WandaVision. Like, these people were back. What was it? The one wife, or the one resident of Westview, she was begging, like, trying to tell Wanda she has a daughter.
Yes.
And she hasn't seen her.
She was the librarian in like episode 1.
Yep. Or she was the busybody HOA kind of community person, and the one, like, I have a daughter, she's 9 years old, like, all this stuff. Like,
they could be friends. Her and your boys.
Yeah.
Just let her out of her room.
yeah, it was just wild. Like the trauma. Like I get it. Like when you say Wanda, they don't want to talk about Wanda. But it broke your heart with Sharon. Like Sharon had her moment. I love the actress. I loved Sharon as a character, and was sad to see her go.
I keep
But
seeing everyone going like, "Who's gonna water her plants now?"
yeah, we're never gonna know how to make our flowers as fluffy.
I was gonna say her husband can water them.
No.
I know for a fact he's just gasping for air for it.
Oh my God,
So,
Johnny.
yeah, that was
Terrible.
terrible. But then she has her moment. They all of their visions are, I want to know more about the visions and what's going on. I thought was really interesting. The fortune teller,
Patty LaPone's character.
Yeah,
yes, when she's speaking and she says that that she's dead, like they're dead, and she has Catherine Hahn's character Agatha has this moment where she's just like compassionate. She's like, okay, come on, let's it's there's something about all of their past that I just want to know more about them. I mean, we kind of know the daughter of someone lost on the road. I almost call it witchy Tourette's with our fortune teller, because that's pretty much how it is. It's like, we need to save Agatha. And it's like, I like this plan. Let's do something with it. And then we have the one that lost power, and then the basically the priest. You're an inconvenient woman, and these moments that kind of lead to something. I kind of wish that I know we don't want to promote underage drinking, but I would love to have seen Teen
Same.
drink the wine. I would have loved to have seen what he was envisioning, but I think that would have been too much of a spoiler for what they're planning to do down the road.
You've got 9 whole episodes right up until Halloween Eve.
So
Yeah.
the reason why I brought this picture up, go ahead, Sarah.
I was literally just gonna bounce off and just say, like, Agatha being sympathetic towards Patty LaPone.
I only know her as Patty LaPone.
She is Patty LaPone. But I feel like I'm really, really hoping for, like, not like a Loki arc, but a semi Loki arc, so that she becomes like a little bit more vulnerable and a little bit more compassionate and soft. I feel like having her as an anti-hero would be so cool, instead of, I feel like she's right now still in the villain era.
I was gonna say, I think I kind of want her to stay in her villain era, though.
Yeah, but like, I'm all for. I love anti-heroes.
I do too. No, don't get me wrong. I love my anti-heroes, like Punisher. One for the books, to say the least.
Well, it's like chaotic neutral in a sense,
Yeah, exactly.
I
like just the screw it, I'm gonna do my own thing kind of attitude. But
I'd love to see her as a mentor. I'd love to see her as a mentor at some point. I mean we know Agatha's character, right? Yeah, she raises basically Franklin Richards. And teaches the magic, and so there is that down there, and of course we know we're going, hopefully we're going toward a Young Avengers at some point, and so Teen or really could easily
you're breaking Sarah's
fit into
heart.
that if they're I know. Well, listen, I it is so hard to be a Marvel fan when it hurts other people, and it's like you just have to sit there and be going.
I understand. I mean, like, I'm loving it. I love his character, and it's just it's like a balance. I'm like, at this point, I'm like, I don't care, whatever, it's fine. But it also like
but mind you, it's like, but it's okay, because I love when people speak out and speak their mind, because one, that's how we learn, because me not being of Jewish descent, learning stuff about that and understanding the importance of erasure is so important, because I think a lot of people aren't willing to learn that, or don't learn that, or they don't see it because they don't think it affects them. But then, like, we're gonna be going down that road again when it comes to Brave New World, and they better make her a villain. But the amount of attention that they're just allowing for this, like,
it's gonna assume
it could be a very
inject him with the Red Hulk formula.
I mean, at least, I really hope she's a villain.
Yeah, we need to do like an episode just called "Crap."
There's a whole other conversation to it, honestly.
Exactly. So going back on topic, and we can table that for another day because that needs its own episode.
I'm down.
This image is up because of a specific thing. So we see 2 on the side of Sharon. We see 3 to the right. And a lot of people are saying that this is giving us indications about who the next witch is that could die. And that's because of this image here.
Disco.
And
Rio's joining. Okay, I wasn't sure when she was gonna join.
Right. So I with we need our, and of course if you look at the promotions on X, on Instagram, Marvel Studios has put a lot out there calling her the Green Witch.
Mhm. Or the one with the
Either
black
to
heart.
just make me feel more guilty about the whole Black Heart thing. But regardless, if it were just this picture that people were speculating, I mean, like, that's a bit of a stretch. Except for the last episode, episode 3, again, we had this poster.
Mhm.
For that other image,
What are you spoiling?
along with that image comes a poster like this.
Oh, why do we gotta kill the Asian character next?
Yeah, but
Now,
there's no
it could be a misdirect.
tagline.
There isn't. That's the only thing.
That's true. I love the font, by the way. It's very groovy.
It is so groovy.
very
I
much
love
so.
Very
it. It's
Scooby Doo.
so fun.
Oh yeah.
I like her pants too. It has like a person on it. It's
I like
cool.
the Matt Murdock glasses.
Oh my god.
I know they're not.
And so there is belief that because of this, she will be the next, or Wu, as we'll call her. She is the next to
Alice.
go. Yeah.
Not
I
Black
get, like, I know we were talking about this before, but like, if every single character, which they do, have like a character poster, then every character is going to die, right?
Except for when she had her vision, I can't protect you.
She does have the protection tattoo, though, that we addressed.
She does have
this episode. I'm trying to find all the reasons she can live right now.
Oh, I absolutely want her to live. I want it to be a misdirect. I kind of would like for them. Now here's the other thing. Here's the other thing. Okay, so Sharon, if you haven't seen the episode, I don't know why you're watching, but go watch it and come back. But Sharon is dead. They go into the oven, which I love that. I had a friend who went into an oven and it didn't end well. She had a nice house too. Love the Hansel and Gretel reference. But Sharon is dead, or at least she appears to be dead.
All I'm saying
in
is
the song, it does declare that you can lose a witch. And then it says, "Spirit be our guide."
So you think her spirit's gonna guide them now?
Could we be?
Maybe it's Patty
Mrs.
LaPone.
But could you imagine if Sharon joins us as a ghost? Like,
that would be some of the most fun. I would honestly like it's like in that one Doctor Strange run by Donny Cates where Doctor Strange loses his dog Bast, but then he comes back as like just a blue ghost dog with floppy ears. I would love something like that for Mrs. Hart here. I'm actually forgetting her name. I would love that actually if she came back as a ghost. However, I was telling my friends, like, honestly, I don't think she's dead. I have faith in Wanda. I think Wanda saved her.
Okay, wait. But she is though, and I love her. But I'm gonna tell you why. Because basically, they didn't put her hair in the potion. So
that's right. That is correct.
If
that's true,
like, the way that I'm thinking about it is like in terms of genetics, like your hair carries your genealogy. So if you're putting your hair in the potion, it's like potion person specific.
I even said that to my friend when we were watching. I was like, "Wait, they're missing someone's hair."
Yeah,
because they completely forgot about her until they realized the time was still ticking.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean Wanda can't save her, assuming Wanda's still alive. Because like the last thing we hear her say is about Wanda. So if Wanda's still alive, maybe she heard her. And she's like, crap, I feel so guilty. I gotta save her. Let's just take a spirit and just...
This is a stretch.
Yeah.
Even by Marvel standards.
It's magic.
It's a stretch.
Just flick of the wrist kind of thing, you know? When you're the Scarlet Witch.
Now, I will say, going back to the Mephisto thing, I did like the idea that they were saying, it could be true about the Darkhold, or he could be a demon or an agent of Mephisto. And we know Nicholas Scratch in the comics is very much a villain. And I'd hate to see Joe Locke playing a villain, but at the same time,
Oh, I would love to see him play a villain.
I would love it too.
It's like when you just meet a really nice person and then you see how unhinged they can get,
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Well, it's
Baby
like
and
Loki,
Sprinkle.
Loki
David
is the most
Tennant.
lovable villain. We needed somebody. Loki's too busy holding the timelines together. We need another mischievous villain that you can just love, and he could play the role. It's possible.
Yeah,
He could play the role.
I think he could. Joe's got the talent.
Okay. So, assuming we get Aubrey Plaza's Rio or the Green Witch in the next episode, what do you guys hope to see next?
Some music. I want music.
Yes, no, I was very much expecting the Witch's Road theme again this episode, and we didn't get it. I was very disappointed.
I liked the end credit music, but I am hoping I don't want them necessarily to sing again because I feel like that would be a little bit too much.
I mean,
but I do want some I want some jams, and I'm like, I love the mystery. I'm hoping that they keep that tone and the mystery continues, even like episode specific and like project specific. And yeah, I'm excited for the reintroduction of Rio and like finding out how on earth did she get on that road.
I have a hypothesis, but we'll see if I'm right.
I just had an epiphany. So we know that there's an episode where they are messing with the Ouija board. What if they're talking to Sharon?
What if she's the one who possesses the corpse and it's just crawling around just to fuck with Teen?
Oh my god, this is too much. Between the both of you, this is too much.
I turned into fertilizer.
Sharon just comes back, just going like, I'm getting my payback, bitch. You let me die. I'm coming back for all of your asses.
Her with her weed shredders.
Just coming with the shears.
Yeah, the shears. Oh my god, that's
not even the big shears. It's like the little ones that you use to clip off like parts of the leaves. It's like the very tiny, unthreatening ones.
I'm shaving you hair by hair.
Because like she remembers what was it, the one witch commented on Joe Locke's hair. She's like, oh, I love the hair though. She's like, not anymore.
God. Oh my goodness.
But in terms of expectations, music's definitely a good one though, I think, Sarah, because if from the looks of it we're dealing with the 70s, might involve Alice Wu and her mom. So we might get some funkadelic music. Honestly, watch as we just get the funky version of the Witch's Road song. I would love that.
Oh, I would
like
love
Saturday
to see
Night
a live
Fever.
performance.
Yeah.
I was thinking the Scooby-Doo theme.
It would be really cool, especially with the different genres, if they would give us a different iteration of the Witch's Road that matches the aesthetic of the show.
Yeah, like the WandaVision, it's pretty much, just it's the same tune every single time, but reworked for every single era, right?
They didn't have an opening credits though, right?
Not for this episode, no.
Yeah.
So unfortunate.
No, I feel like we've gotten past that because I think it only worked for the first episode because it was still a TV show. Agatha was stuck. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
But in terms of my own expectations, honestly, for just next episode specifically, or like overall for the series?
Overall, next episode, whatever.
Overall, I really want Wanda to show up. I feel like she's got to show up. But for next episode, I hope we don't get any death, because if we get 2 in a row and then we get a third one, it's going to feel like diminishing returns. Death is like comedy. Rule of 3s.
Yeah. Yep.
Or just do it all at once.
So I would love to see either a flashback or whatever as to what led to her Agatha's coven turning on her. I think they keep talking about her past. One, that they said that she's already gone down the Witch's Road. 2, that she traded Nicholas Scratch for the Darkhold. Now, mind you, it probably is that she was held by the coven or tried by the coven and was supposed to be executed because of her trading her son for the Darkhold.
Yeah.
That's probably where it's going. But it would be interesting to see if Agatha has adopted this this bad guy persona for
This
some
mean
pursuit. Like
girl
what
vibe.
exactly? What exactly was her end game? What was the purpose? What got her to the point? I get the idea of being power hungry and her wanting powers, and her wanting to, and obviously she was a hunter of witches because she told Kale, I hate you, but I saw what you were doing. So it's kind of like, because I even thought that in WandaVision that Agatha was the antagonist or the bad guy specifically because she knew the threat that Wanda was.
Mhm.
And she was trying to save the world from Wanda, but in doing it in the worst ways possible.
For her own,
Um,
just like I'll do this,
yeah.
but my way of
But-
doing this.
But especially with what you guys were saying in here, the possibility that she's still under some sort of spell. We know more about Teen, aka Billy or Nicholas. The potential with that. I would love for the Funko spoiler to be a misdirect. I would love for those things because I feel like at this point they have earned my willingness to just step back and say, I'm along for the ride.
Yeah.
I'm going to speculate, but I'm going to trust you 100% with what you're
Oh,
doing.
yeah.
And again, like I love it. The MCU Woman Haters Club has been relatively silent, I think,
Because the show is
especially
just that
since
damn good.
The
what was it,
show has been doing
9.6 million views
Yeah.
on the first episode. Like we're good. We're good.
Apparently that was still less than Acolyte though, so I'm like shit. But the biggest thing is just
Well,
whether
that
or not
just
you keep it
goes-
consistent.
That
Because
just
with
goes to
Acolyte, there was
show,
a big
like,
drop-off.
but it's just relatively funny because what do we have? We have the guys on Twitter going, who asked for this? And I'm like, right here.
Yeah.
I-
You
I
know,
did.
Honestly, even my
I've been
friends
asking for this since WandaVision.
like even my friends who are like who enjoy superhero stuff, who read comics, are like, I don't need an Agatha show, but he's still watching it though.
Yeah.
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 And even he's going like, I'm kind of enjoying it. That was kind of gas.
Yeah. I mean, like,
Yeah.
it wasn't like top of my list, but I'm
Yeah.
happy that it's here. I'm not
Yeah, no.
mad.
Oh, and it being around Halloween and leading up to Halloween, like
Yeah.
Exactly.
I will say this, apart from
Halloween.
Marvel, Agatha all along has done something for me that even Hocus Pocus 2 didn't do when it was
I did
released.
not watch it.
And it got
me
me
neither.
into it's not bad. I would say it's not as good as the first one, but the music is banging in the movie. I will say that, and it's a passable Disney Channel movie in the sense of I enjoyed it, and a lot of people that I've talked to in the wild have said the same thing. So give it a chance. But Agatha all along has gotten me more in the Halloween spirit. I kid you not. If I'm not watching the episode of Agatha all along multiple times, because it seems like every time I watch it, I at least watch it twice the same day it's released. Like it's gonna go on loop. And apart from that, I have been watching more Halloween movies and horror films leading up because I'm just excited about the season because of the show.
Did Werewolf by Night not do that for you as well, though? I am curious.
I
about
haven't,
this.
I haven't seen that yet. Still.
I loved it. I loved it. But Werewolf by Night released while I was in New York for New York Comic Con. And so though I watched it,
That's
it
why I
didn't
haven't seen it.
get me inspired.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is when I was at New York Comic Con with you guys, we should have just all watched it together. Wait, was that last? No, it
Yes.
wasn't last year.
Yeah,
No, it was in
It was
2022.
the year before.
Was it?
Yeah, no,
Oh,
last year they
well-
last year they released it again, but in color.
Yeah, I still haven't seen it though. So
You gotta watch it.
yeah,
Out of-
I know.
It's
It's on my
it's
list.
really good.
Sarah.
It's really good.
It's on my list. I'm really bad at shows.
And I think it was last
Like,
year because I
which
think it was
45
Werewolf by Night. It was Werewolf by Night and Halloween, and then we had Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special.
Right.
No, it was 2 years ago.
Yeah, it was.
Holiday Special was 2 years ago already.
Holiday Special was the year before. Was the holiday?
It was
before
the
Guardians
Christmas
3.
before Guardians Volume 3.
that
And
was 2
Guardians
years
Volume 3
ago.
was last year. Oh my goodness. Time flies.
So Sarah, when are you free? We should probably do like a group watch of Werewolf by Night because I would love to get your reaction to that.
Ooh, I'm free on weekends. Let's do it.
Let's do this. I'm free on weekends now too, thank God. But also, what was it, Tony? I'm surprised Agatha is what's doing it in for you right now for the Halloween season.
I don't know what it is. But it has. I have literally watched a litany of horror films before bed every night because I've just been so excited about Halloween this year. So yeah,
Same,
absolutely.
honestly.
Oh yeah, yeah. And I literally do not. I cannot get the Ballad of the Witches Road out of my head. I feel like Sharon sometimes. I'm like, just bop into it. So.
Down the Witches Road.
So, oh man. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us and talking. Those of you who are watching live with us, thank you for being on. Those of you who will listen or watch after the fact, thank you again so much for listening. Thank you for making the podcast so successful in downloads this week. And really appreciate that. Be sure to check us on podcast. I'll probably be dropping it as soon as we get off here. Wherever you get your podcast at. And it's basically just Spellbound by Agatha all along. And you can follow us on,
we should start doing
on
Penguin
It's Fanbox. What's that?
We should do episodes of Penguin then.
I'm behind on Penguin. I need to watch it.
I've only seen the first episode. I mean, it's only one episode out right now. Next one comes out tomorrow, but
Okay.
You got time.
Okay. I can start.
Yeah.
You got time to catch up.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah.
But yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We need to do this. Like, and again, like I said, for those of you watching, for you guys too, It's Fanbox is there are no requirements, there are no restrictions. It is literally a sandbox for us to play around with. So if anybody has ideas of anything that they want to do, they want to see, we'll make it happen. Even if I'm in the background, not on camera, not talking, so other people can speak, I'm willing to do that. In fact, Xanatos, who was with David, who was with us last week, could make it this week. He will most likely be back on next week. He is currently working with people to put together something to talk about toxic Star Wars fandom. And we're going to call it the fandom menace. Yes. Yep. So yeah, but and it's fun. And so literally, you guys think of something you want to do, you tell me. I may not be familiar with it, but I'm willing to do it. So with that said, follow us on bye Johnny. Follow us on it's Fanbox everywhere platforms are found. I don't know what happened to them. You can go to itsfanbox.com. And Sarah, one more time before we get off, tell us where we can find you, because Johnny just disappeared.
Sure. So I'm on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok at Movies and Tea. And I'm going to be at New York Comic Con this year. So if you guys are there, I look like this, except for usually without glasses. Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's sad because this will be the first year and I'm not going to be going. Sad. Yeah, but yeah, so and you can find me in the wild, especially in this area because I'm in the DC area. If you guys end up going to AwesomeCon next year, I think that's going to be my first convention of the year. So we'll see. We typically do a panel there. Oh, Johnny's back. Let me go and get you back up there.
Sorry, my roommate left the oven on and I could smell something burning.
Oh, well, good. I'm glad that
you're a podcast. Like, come on.
I mean, I'm renting this place and I just moved in and I just brought in a bunch of my comics yesterday. Rather that didn't get burnt down just yet. Oh. I need to get them insured first.
All right. And Sarah just told us where we can find her. Johnny, go ahead and end us off with where we can find you.
Oh, I've got some good timing then, I guess. Y'all can find me pretty much just on my socials at the moment. I don't have any cons planned. Wish I could go to New York Comic Con. Who knows? Maybe they'll let me know like the week before, and then I'll take a last minute flight out to New York. Are you going this year, Tony?
I'm not.
Okay.
You guys both suck.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not the native New Yorker. I'm on the West Coast. I'm not on the East. I'm sorry.
Well.
Oh, yeah. After the show yesterday, Dave and I were talking about how expensive it is to like even go out and be like Chicago is just as bad, but at least like it's not like sardines at C2E2. So,
I mean, I still need to go to C2E2. So.
And Sarah, I hope that you will report. I've heard they're doing some new things with New York Comic Con, trying to make it a little bit more accessible, especially like with the celebrity part. I'm looking forward to seeing any videos that you talk about and see if it's improved. Because I will say, as much as you'll get.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say I'm definitely gonna create content, so definitely gonna cover it.
Let us know if the Wi-Fi actually improved, because when Tony and I were there last year, I couldn't even call him for our Karen Gillan photo.
Yeah, I almost missed it. I almost missed it.
He almost
so.
missed it, but we didn't. We got the pose in.
Yeah, and she was
iconic.
she rolled her eyes and thought it was funny. Like
She
I'm
literally-
glad she responded so
The
well.
moment Tony requested, she's like, "Oh, not this again! I thought I just got off of that."
She's
love
so
Karen.
cute.
So-
Matt Smith's gonna be
Oh,
there
yeah.
this year, so I'm really excited
Matt
for that.
Smith, Jodie Whittaker.
Uh-huh.
Has Tony told you that
I-
he's gone on the Doctor Who train?
I finally caught up.
I was
Yeah.
there when he first
Yeah.
started.
Okay, just had to make sure. But yeah, no,
I was there
I'm
when it was written.
So mad. I'm so mad. I can't meet Matt Smith. I would die to meet Matt Smith. But hey, at least Peter Capaldi's not there, so I feel better.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
no
but see,
Doctor Who panel.
As much as I love David
Yeah.
Tennant, I really feel like I love the Matt Smith era better.
Yeah,
Like I thought
me
it was
too.
there was a lot more fun. I understand that the Clara companion was a little bit of a hit or
I
miss for some
thoughts.
people.
I still love Clara.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Maybe
what
not
I'm
the show, but
so
I
what
have
I'm hearing is
thoughts.
we're doing a Werewolf by Night episode. We're gonna do Penguin, and now we're doing Doctor Who. Love it.
Yeah. We'll chat offline. But for those of you watching, we will be back again next week, hopefully with more people. Again, sorry we couldn't have Tony Ann with us or David, but hopefully they will be joining us next week.
Y'all got me
It's
this
not
time.
Batman Day, so I'm not going to say the same bat time. But again, Saturday night, 10 p.m., we'll be talking about episode 4 of Agatha All Along. Hopefully, we will not be mourning the loss of another one of our witches or non-witches. And with that said, witches, we're out.